Hi everybody, welcome back to Project Happy Home. For those of you who are new here, I'm Tanya, a doctor, lawyer turned homeschool mom of 3 kids ages 9, 6, and 4. If you're interested in videos about secular homeschooling, raising a child with ADHD, and living a more practical essentialist lifestyle in general, you have come to the right place, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Today I am participating in a collab hosted by Jimena and Didi over at Chips and Salsa, and they are a great homeschooling channel. If you haven't run into them yet, you should definitely check them out. I'll link them up above and down below in the description box. But they are 2 friends who are lucky enough to be in the same area, and they get to go through their homeschooling adventures together. They have kids that are a little bit older than my kids, so if you have kids who are in the teen ages, they are a great channel to follow, and you should definitely head over there. Personally, I like watching channels of parents who have kids who are a little bit older than me anyway, so I can kind of see what's coming down the pike and just get prepared and get my priorities in line a little bit more, because I find that homeschoolers who are homeschooling at that end of the game, in the middle of it all, seem to have a better perspective on why they're doing certain things than some of us who are at the beginning still. So again, that's Chips and Salsa, so be sure to check them out. The collab today is about what our plans are for summer homeschooling. Now, I am not technically a year-round homeschooler, but I tend to do some schooling throughout the year regardless. So although we definitely finish around the end of June and start around the end of August or September, kind of like a traditional school year, I have the kids do work throughout the summer. So it's not a traditional school day, it's not all the subjects, but I definitely keep them on track with English and with math. And I will tell you about that in a little bit, but I just wanted to tell you some more of our just general summer plan. So first off, my eldest is going to sleepaway camp, and I'm so excited for him, in particular because it's a camp designed for children who have ADHD as well as other learning differences. And I'm just really excited for him to be in a situation where he is understood, and he is understood better, and a lot of things that might seem a little bit off or a little bit atypical in a normal camp setting will be really more readily understood by these camp counselors who are trained in this, who are used to dealing with children who just observe the world differently and work through the world and problems that might arise differently. So I'm really excited for him. I'm excited for him to be with his peers. If you're the parent of a child with a learning difference, especially ADHD, you know that somehow these kids seem to find each other even in park settings and everything. They're like, yeah, you get me, like you get it. You get my hyper reaction to this, or you get my enthusiasm about this other thing. I mean, it just works out better. So I am super excited for him. But it is sleepaway camp, and because we are those parents who are a little bit like, sleepaway camp, we are going to vacation very nearby where his sleepaway camp is. That way, just in case of anything, we are going to be less than an hour away, and we'll be able to, see him if he needs us to see him, or like help him if he gets hurt or something happens. And that just makes my mama heart a little bit more relaxed about the whole thing. My son is very gregarious, very outgoing. He's not nervous at all about this. He is super excited. He wanted to go last year, but I was like, let's wait until you're almost 10. And he'll also be going to regular camp after his sleepaway camp, and his sisters will join him there as well. My middle daughter is very excited because this year she'll be doing all of his same camp things. The camp that they go to is sort of a traditional summer camp, the way we imagine summer camp to be in the movies. So they do archery, they swim in the lake, they have tug of war, all of those traditional camp things that you see in the movies. It's super fun. They have horseback riding. It's a all-out fun time. So the elder 2 will be going to that pretty much all day for 2 months. My youngest will be going to half-day camp, which is more of like a kindergarten preschool camp, for just the morning time. So she is super excited about that. She went last year. Every single day she asked me, like, when am I going to camp? Is camp tomorrow? Am I going to camp? Is camp tomorrow? Can I go to camp? Why am I not at camp? Why is not camp here? When is July? So she's thrilled about camp because they go swimming every day. All 3 of mine are big water babies, and they're super excited. So camp is going to be a huge part of their summer, and traditionally has been. This year, I need them to go to summer camp because I need those hours to work on finalizing my secular memory work curriculum. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I've talked about this here and there and everywhere, but this summer is the summer, you guys. I am going to write it and finalize it and send it off to some beta testers in the fall. If you're interested in being a beta tester, let me know. I'll be happy to send you the first few weeks for free to see if you like it. It probably won't be a fully formalized, laid out version, but you'll have all the content. And I'm super, super excited about it. As a eclectic secular homeschooler, I do dabble a lot in classical education. And if you're a secular classical educator, you really don't have very many resources for secular memory work. Most of the memory work programs out there are very, very heavily Christian in content. And sometimes it's just tiring to take things out and move things around and strip things of what you as a family might not necessarily believe in or what you might not want your children to memorize. So that's why I'm developing a secular memory work curriculum. So let me know in the comments down below how you feel about that, what kinds of things you would love to see in a secular memory work curriculum, etc., etc. Getting back to how we actually do school for the summer, what I will mainly be doing is school on the weekends. So this summer, all through the week, they'll be having so much fun with their camp friends outside, swimming, running, playing, doing archery, yada, yada, yada. That on the weekends, I'm gonna sort of bring them in and we are just gonna do probably about 2 to 3 hours of work a day on Saturday and Sunday. And that will be mainly focused on math and English. So this year, I have not finished a lot of their math and English curricula. My daughter has, but my eldest has not because he spent half the year in cottage school and they sort of had their own curriculum. So I kind of started my own up again in spring. So he has quite a bit to finish in that, and that's what we will be working through. In particular, that means his language arts curriculum and his math curriculum. Now, we have been using Math Mammoth for him as well as mathematical reasoning this year. And that's a great blend. You guys know I love mathematical reasoning by the Critical Thinking Company. So he is about a little more than halfway through so far, which makes sense since he started it in spring. And we will be finishing up this book this year, the Level D Mathematical Reasoning. If you guys haven't looked at mathematical reasoning before, I think I did a flip through of Level D as well. If I haven't, let me know in the comments down below. But I know I've done a flip through of some of them here. That was not very effective. So let me just show you some of the pages slowly. The thing I like best about mathematical reasoning is that it is very varied in its activities. Some of the pages will take only a minute, some of them will take much longer because they're more arithmetic based, but it cycles through different more advanced mathematical concepts like algebra, geometry, logic, fractions, etc. So we'll be finishing up that book as well as his Math Mammoth book. Now this is the 3A book, which he completely finished, but we'll be finishing up the 3B book. Math Mammoth is a great program in my opinion. It is very multimodal. If you have a learner who likes to do computerized games or card games, there's a lot of hands-on activities that she talks about in here. I think a lot of people have the misconception that Math Mammoth is just worksheets, very traditional, and I don't think it is at all. I think it does a really good job of incorporating logical math reasoning concepts like you find in Singapore with more online games and things like that that she has listed out for you here, as well as more physical games like you would see in Right Start Math. So I am super, super happy with Math Mammoth and I plan to continue using it for the foreseeable future. In terms of English for him, we have been using Lightning Literature and Composition made by Hewitt Homeschooling this year. If you've seen my Hewitt Homeschooling videos, you know that I love this curricula. I believe that Hewitt Homeschooling is a Christian company, but their Lightning Literature curriculum that I've used thus far is entirely secular. So I really like it. This is the student workbook. It is a program that combines actual literature with the grammar studies. So based on the books that you read, the grammar lessons will reference those characters, etc. So the workbook for students is very colorful, as you can see, and we've just really, really enjoyed it. It has very short lessons per day. It's a 4-day-a-week program. We generally go 5 days because we have random things going on. We really, really like it, and he is about halfway through this book as well, so we'll probably accelerate a little bit of it, and I'm going to save the very last book, which is Tale of Despero, for next year. because it will align with Build Your Library for next year. Last but not least for my son, we'll be continuing with Thriving with ADHD, the workbook for kids. If you follow me on Instagram at Project Happy Home, you have seen pictures of this book. I love this book. This is by Kelly Miller, Kelly with an I. I'll link it down below. We've gotten through almost half of this book. We don't do it every single day. We generally do about a lesson or so a week, like one of the activities a week, but it is really phenomenal. I cannot tell you, if you have a child with ADHD, it really goes through so many different ways for them to realize what some of their triggers might be, what some of their weaknesses might be, what their strengths are, how to capitalize on those. It talks about ADHD in a very matter-of-fact, practical way. I am a big proponent of honesty when it comes to learning differences with your kids. For my son in particular, telling him about ADHD and the neurobiological reasons behind ADHD has really empowered him to feel good about himself, to learn things and tools that can help him, you know, function within this world's constructs, within this world's rules for children in a way that empowers him, in a way that makes him more able to deal with the stressors placed on him in more rigid environments than home. And even within some of the rigid environments of home, for example, expectations like making your bed and brushing your teeth and keeping your room clean and getting your work done on time, these kinds of skills can be more difficult for some children with ADHD. And this workbook has proven to be so helpful in giving a different voice to some of the things that I'm teaching him. He can see that there's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing broken with him. He has real skills that come with ADHD and also real struggles. And this book addresses those head on, and I love it. The book contains lots of different sections, including reading and activities that allow them to address their own particular strengths and weaknesses, to really reflect on how to grow as a person. And it doesn't ignore who they are at the same time. So I can't recommend it highly enough. I love this book. I will link it down below for you, so be sure to check it out if you have a child with ADHD. In terms of my middle daughter, who is not quite 6.5 yet, so she's sort of like a hybrid first grader, second grader next year. She'll be second grade for sure in math, but still probably first grade, second grade in language arts. We will be doing a hybrid over the summer. We recently started The Good and the Beautiful Level 1 because she really wasn't ready for it at the beginning of the year. My issue with The Good and the Beautiful, at least for level 1, is that I didn't think it did such a great job of teaching stepwise about, you know, fluency and reading. It for us is better as a review. So right now, progressing through it, she can read most of the words, she can do most of the activities. There is some things that we stumble over in terms of phonographs and stuff that we work on, but it wasn't working for us as an initial kind of starting point. What worked for us this year was to go through most of Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, as well as the reading lesson. She really enjoyed the reading lesson book, and it really helped her gain fluency in reading. So we're going to continue with The Good and the Beautiful Level 1 over the summer. She has that book with her in the car right now, and her father has her, so I can't show it to you, but this is the Level 1 reader, and we'll be continuing through that. So she can read this pretty easily right now, which I didn't want to stress her out at the beginning of the year, because at the beginning of the year this was far too difficult for her. So we'll be working our way through The Good and the Beautiful's Level 1 this summer with her, and then we will be starting All About Reading Level 2 in the fall. If she's enjoying The Good and the Beautiful, if I still see value from it, I'll probably continue that into the fall, but I'm not entirely certain. In terms of math, she will be continuing with her Math Mammoth for grade 1 as well. She's actually almost done. This is the 1A work text, so she has another one almost exactly the same size, and she is, I would say, about a quarter of the way through, or maybe a third of the way through. So we'll definitely finish up this before the end of the summer. In terms of my youngest, who is 4.5 now, she has been going to a Montessori preschool 3 days a week and loving it. I really tried hard to convince her to go next year as well, because it's kind of nice to have that, you know, 9 hours a week where she's like safely ensconced in a really fun hands-on preschool where I can focus on the older kids. But she was adamant about coming home this year. She wanted to be homeschooled full-time, so she's going to be with us full-time next year. Over the summer, though, I'm going to try to get her up to speed a little bit more with her phonics. We're going to be working through the Good and the Beautiful Level K primer. We haven't done too much of it. As you can see, here's a cloudy page. And here's a handwriting page. Honestly, I like this book. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's very pretty to look at. I still think the actual aesthetics of The Good and the Beautiful is one of their chief selling points. And it's not an insignificant one, honestly. It's nice for me as a mom and as a teacher to look at a really nice, pretty page. I think it's more important to me, honestly, than it is to my children. But they are really nice, engaging activities. Again, I don't find it to be the best in terms of solitary instruction. I regard this much more as a review book than anything else. But hopefully we'll get through the entire Level K primer this summer. And she will be moving on to the Good and the Beautiful Level K in the fall, as well as All About Reading Level 1. Because especially for the early grades, I really like to focus on language arts and math. Everything else to me in the early elementary grades is gravy, exposure, hearing vocab words, hearing, actual key points in history. I'm not looking for them to retain that information in detail. I'm really looking for them to develop a solid foundation in language arts and reading and writing, the 3 R's. So if we go a little heavy in those areas, that's why. And I like to approach it with different curricula because I'm an eclectic homeschooler, and I also see a lot of value in having them apply the information in different ways. Because if you go through only one curricula, you really do get used to the pattern of it. And it's hard to discern sometimes whether the student is actually understanding the concept or just knows how to answer their style of question, their style of fill in the blank, etc. So I like doing it that way. My kids are really responsive to doing worksheets. They're really quick with it. I think it's important to learn that type of discipline. And that's why, I'm not at all an unschooler. We certainly have unschooly bits, but I am definitely eclectic, and that continues throughout the summer. So when things aren't working, we pull back, we reassess, and I have no issue whatsoever doing that. Another series that we've been really liking for the older kids is Explode the Code. So I started off my daughter in Explode the Code A, which is a book that none of my other kids have used actually. And I gotta tell you, it's a really well done book. Explode the Code does not disappoint. I love the older age books for my older kids, and these are great. Like, they do such a good job of going through and doing letter sounds, and they repeat just 1 or 2 letter sounds before adding the next one, before the next one. The ones that they do and the order that they do it in makes a lot of sense. They do both letter practice, letter identification practice, writing practice. They have a few interactive activities. I am a huge fan of this. And if you want to see A, B, and C for Explode the Code in more detail, you should check out my friend Lindsay's video at Momma Schmooze Homeschool Reviews. She did a great review video of that. I will try to remember to link that down in the description box below also. So she'll be finishing up that. And she'll be finishing up random math workbooks that we have. Like, this is a K-level workbook, though I think it's probably more pre-K level, by Master Skills Series by American Education Publishing. And it has a lot of practice for writing numbers, for identifying numbers, for quantifying, etc. It's a great little math practice book. We have a couple of other math practice books lying around that my older kids didn't finish. She'll be finishing up this. She's worked through almost the entire CRAFTY classroom set for numbers and shapes, and she's had a great time with that. So she's finished up all those worksheets. If you want to see my review for that, I'll link it down below as well. And I'm an affiliate for the CRAFTY classroom, so they're a great company. If you want a one-stop shop for preschool printing, they're a great company to look at. We will also be using their states curriculum for next year for my eldest. I love them because you just download the file, you print it, and you're ready to go for the year. It's like the simplest, easiest way of having printables in your life, period. I've never seen a company do it better. I hate getting 10,000 PDF files when you order one product. The CRAFTY Classroom does not do that. They have like one, and that's it, and it's wonderful. So check out my affiliate link for that down below if you're interested. And they're also just a lovely company. I mean, the people that run it are just so kind, and that matters to me. So there's that. So in any case, the other thing we will be doing throughout the summer is getting lots and lots of library books as usual. We'll probably up our library consumption, in fact, because, we'll have more time for it. And we generally get about 20 to 30 books from the library anyway each time. It is my cardio and my weightlifting practice, and I plan to keep it that way, so we will continue with that. Those are our summer plans, you guys. I would love to hear about your summer plans, and don't forget to check out the other moms who are participating in this collab, including my friend Lindsay from Momma Schmooze Reviews, as well as, of course, Chips and Salsa's video. So I'm sure Dee Dee and Jimena are doing cool things with their kids, and I am curious to see what everyone else is doing over the summer. As always, you guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that you spend some of it with me, and I wish you guys all the best summer. You know, whatever it is you're doing, tell me about it in the comments down below, and I wish you the very best day.